This is the Super Sports Schools podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur Steak Ranchers.
1, 2, 3, go!
Uraisha, Fanele, thank you so much for joining me on the Super Sports Schools podcast today. Just to start off, can you introduce yourselves and let the audience know how you're involved in football?
Shall I go first? Okay. So I'm Uraisha Haswell. I am a long-suffering football supporter and fan. Currently in KZN, I'm the chairperson of women's football for the region, for eThekwini SAFA, and I've been involved with the school system for quite a few years. I'm also a qualified football coach, and I have a SAFA Level 3 referees qualification. So yeah, that's who I am.
All right, and over to me. My name is Fanele Ndlovu. I've been in the school system for many, many years, since 2010. My biggest passion is sports. That's why I've been involved in sports. I'm a qualified sport coordinator, qualified coach in high school level. And yeah, I'm hoping to encourage a whole lot of kids, a whole lot of learners to get involved in the sports, or soccer to be precise. And yeah, that's who I am. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, both of you. I think I just want to start off with talking a little bit about the KZN football scene and specifically girls football, because we've spoken about football on the podcast before. We've spoken specifically about KZN football because it appears to be where the strongest league in the country is at the moment for schools. So I think, Uraisha, what do you think makes KZN the hotbed of South African schools football that it is at the moment? And talk to us a little bit about what the girls football scene is like in KZN as well.
So I think it started a couple of years ago. I think there's a group of very, very ardent football coaches from the school system that identified a need for a formalized structure for girls football. I have a daughter who's at the university for her first year this year, and she only wanted to play football at school. She wasn't interested in any other sport. And they only played for 3 weeks in the third term. And there were many girls like her. Fanele will attest to that. So what KZN High Schools did, and the kind of forerunners were Dan Haswell and Monique Franks, and they got together with the rest of the kind of KZN High Schools football committee and decided to launch a program for girls at schools that could encourage them to continue playing throughout the year. So that's kind of where it was born, and girls high school football has been very, very popular in KZN. There's a fantastic program being run out of Pietermaritzburg at Edendale Technical School. It's been run by Sihle Basi and Mchichwa. They have been doing it for probably about 15 years. They've produced Banyana players. Lona Temba is one of the Banyana players that came out of Edendale Tech. She's played through the KZN high school system. She's played in our tournaments and our leagues, being top scorer, and just missed out on the World Cup squad. So I think it comes from, there are people who are very passionate about it. And I think where we are now, Alex, is a lot of these people have come together. And so it's just gotten stronger. The regional league, from a SAFA perspective, is also very popular, which is where the KZN High Schools Starlings play. It's the ladies' regional league for eThekwini region, and there's about 18 teams in the league. Currently, the ladies are sitting about 6th, I think, on the log, and it's a combination of girls who've played in the system before, so they have been at the schools. They're now either at university or they're at some of them are actually teachers at some of our KZN high schools, like Fanele herself. And what we've done is we've encouraged these girls to realize not everybody's going to be a professional footballer. However, they can still stay part of the game. So, for example, within this KZN Starlings team, there's 5 D licensed qualified coaches, and they're now coaching the team. So it's making the ladies also become employable after school, where they realize I might not be a player, but you know what, I can be a coach. There's 11 of them that have level 2 SOFA referee qualifications. So we try to keep the players kind of, you know, in the sport, even though they might not necessarily go on to be a professional player. But I think the beauty of it is that there are just so many girls who want to play, and it's incredible. I mean, Fanele will tell you all her plans that she has, which are really exciting for the upcoming months. And all it is just getting all these kind of silos together and putting it into place. And yeah, I think that's probably why KZN has been regarded as the hotbed of it. It's just there's passionate people who are putting their time, giving up their Saturdays and Sundays, you know, and just, I mean, just the watching the ladies play is incredible. It's just watching them develop from, you know, 12, 13 years in the primary school system into high school, and then some of them going off to university where they're getting scholarships to play football. We've got a very strong partnership with the Sharks Academy here in Durban, where that run a football program. I think that there's like 5 girls now that have gone through the school system that are now on bursaries, football bursaries at the Sharks, and they play at the Starlings. Some of them coach the juniors, you know. So we're trying to create like almost this little microeconomy where the girls are also being able to get something back. Yeah.
Well, I think your passion is very clear, and you talk about the community coming together. That's fantastic. I just want to touch on one of the things you mentioned. Obviously, there are a couple Banyana Banyana players that have come through. And I think, Fanele, if you want to talk a little bit about your plans going into the future, but to start that, touching on the impact it has for you as someone trying to get girls into the sport, the impact that Banyana Banyana are doing so well at this FIFA Women's World Cup, the impact of that, being able to see and have representation and to be performing so well, how does that help you in your, I guess, recruitment efforts?
Well, the fact that Banyana Banyana is doing so well, so many girls are actually are encouraged to actually keep pushing, keep trying, keep going for all their mights to make sure that they can also one day reach their dreams. I mean, it's not something that's not known, that soccer is mostly known for a male sport. But the fact that we've got a strong South African team of ladies, it actually does encourage the girls so much. So it kind of makes my job a lot more easier in terms of getting them involved with soccer. The other thing that I actually have learned from a lot of girls in different regions in KZN is a lot of them have actually been talking about a pre-season, which is rare because in the past, it was like a known thing that soccer only exists in term 3. And a lot of girls now are very encouraged to start soccer in term 2. So by the time term 3 starts, they are then fit and ready to actually do very, very well in terms of their league performances, or even making a KZN team, or maybe somehow getting up into the Banyana Banyana standards. Yeah. So it actually kind of makes my job really easy in terms of just encouraging the girls to take part.
Yeah, and then to touch on some, Uraisha mentioned that you've got some exciting plans coming up. Maybe just to go into that, because I think football in general across schools is growing in South Africa. I mean, that predominantly the powerhouse schools, sports schools, historically football wasn't really a sport that got a lot of attention. That's changing now. So it's exciting to hear what your plans are going forward, particularly in girls football.
So it's nothing big as yet, but we have planned a tour in October, the normal kind of standard tour in terms of travel arrangements. But however, I am actually trying to get a whole lot of KZN-based companies to also come on board. I think if KZN companies also realize that these girls are passionate about it and these girls are committed into it, they can also be kind of encouraged to do exceptionally well because they have the backing of companies. Certain company by the name of Haswell has sponsored our girls' side, which is also an amazing thing, especially for the girls, and also an amazing thing in terms of them seeing they're not just playing because they're passionate about it, but there are some people that actually can see their success. So, yeah.
I think the message that's coming across from both of you is one of positivity and optimism, and that it's going in a good direction. But I think, Uraisha, if you had to talk a little bit about what still needs to be done in girls football across the country? Because obviously there is so much.
Absolutely. I think it starts with the coaches knowing how to coach females. There is a big difference between coaching boys and coaching girls. I mean, I'll give you an example. In our first aid kit, we have tampons, which a male coach doesn't think about. And so it's just small stuff like that. But it's important. So there's understanding that there's a difference of how you coach boys and girls, but also the facilities that some of our girls play in is not adequate. I don't think personally it's adequate for boys to play either. But like change room facilities, for example, sometimes we go out and we're playing in areas which are quite far off, and the girls get there's no bathrooms for them to use. So I think there's a lot needs to be overhauled in terms of the infrastructure for how we offer, especially this development leagues. And I think one of the reasons why we started the program for the high schools for girls is because there wasn't adequate coaching. The coaches would come to practice, give the girls a bag of balls and say, go kick it at the goals. And I've witnessed that. And that's also one of the reasons why now the coaching sessions are proper sessions. There's proper conditioning. I mean, if you looked at the Banyana team maybe 10 years ago or 12 years ago, they weren't as conditioned as they are now. And it's something that has to realize that, we have to realize that girls have to be conditioned as well. There's a fitness element. And there's also the element of pride. As you were saying about Banyana doing well, this has created an element of pride in young girls to want to play football. Fanele is being very modest. She's got a fantastic under-19 Coastal Cup coming up. She's holding trials on Sunday. So she's very busy. So she's being very modest, Alex. But there's a lot of happening. And the turnouts we've had, Fanele, at these trials and tournaments has been phenomenal. But Alex, one other thing that I think is really, really positive is the support girls are getting from, for example, the male teams to come and watch and support. I mean, if you look at the numbers that the Ladies World Cup brought out in the stadiums were full. And that for me is where we need to start going as well, is to get people, encourage people to support it, because the quality of football is incredible. When juniors watch some of the ladies in the team play, it's there's my coach Kez, or there's my coach Danny, or there's my coach Non, and the kids are really excited and they look up to it. So an element of respect is created. And that's what we need. We need complete respect in the girls' game. I always quote Mia Hamm, the American, she was a star football player there, and she said, my coach said I run like a girl, and I told him if he ran a little faster, he could too. And that's kind of the attitude we want to create, is that it shouldn't be you run like a girl or you play like a girl. Yes, I am a girl, and that's okay. So it's also mindset changes like that. And I think once that starts happening, you will see a phenomenal rise in female football.
I think one of the things we've seen over the past couple of months is with the Netball World Cup being here in South Africa, that impact that it has with the full stadium. You mentioned, obviously, in Australia and New Zealand, the Women's World Cup for the football also full. And there are rumors going around that South Africa might be bidding to host the 2027 FIFA World Cup as well, the Women's FIFA World Cup. And I think the benefits of having that in South Africa for girls across the country to see that representation, to have that pride, that must be something that could have a really big impact.
Absolutely. I think we've shown that we can host it. We've hosted the 2010, and we've shown we've got the capability and competence to do it. And I think that at the moment, the focus being on the Women's World Cup and Banyana doing well is something that's just opened the doors for so many young women. It's very exciting at the moment. And also, platforms like Super Sports Schools, to have youngsters in general being able to be watched by granny who lives somewhere else, or mommy who can't make the game, or whatever the case is fantastic. But specifically for girls, I think it's really, really an incredible platform. And that all creates the excitement around it. And, suddenly you feel valued. You feel like there's an opportunity. You feel like there's a possibility.
And also what I've noticed on that is certain government departments are also coming on to board because of how Banyana Banyana have performed, which is also amazing in terms of from the Department of Education point of view.
I think I'm going to
But
put.
I think people shouldn't wait
yeah.
for us to be amazing. They should help us become
True.
amazing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Come on, wake up now. Who got zombie? Wake up now. Sequilatos cut. Wake up now. Who got my sign? Get up and go.
With 15 delicious breakfasts, Spur is the place to be until 11 every morning. Enjoy an unreal breakfast, still just $49.90. Spur, people with a taste for life.
Wake up now. Come on. Yeah.
One of the things we chatted to Kate Woods on Women's Day about a whole range of topics, but we spoke about the Women's FIFA World Cup quite a bit. And she was saying that Banyana Banyana got together about 2 times before that World Cup. And that's something in South Africa. There's still a lot of our sports might be semi-professional or even still amateur at the top level. And these are particularly for women's sports. Do you think for girls coming into the sports, what do you say to motivate them? Because there are going to be girls who want to make it all the way to the top. And it's great that there's this holistic support that you're giving where you don't have to make it to the top, but there are going to be girls who want to. And for them, what's that process like?
Well, I'm also a life orientation teacher at a high school, high school. And the one thing that I always tell my girls is I strongly believe that if you put in the amount of efforts that you want to actually go far, you can go far. I mean, there are a number of videos that I've made them watch about specific individual Banyana Banyana players that were working a full-time job and can't make practice or can't make a deadline at work and so forth because of soccer, but still made it. So I'm always make them realize that even though the structures aren't really structuring, if that makes sense, but I mean, if you are passionate and determined, you can actually go far, very far. Join the national team, join any team. Because at the end of the day, if you have the talents and if you have the potential, then obviously you can go as far as you want.
I think also that we have a lot of the universities are now starting to take ladies football seriously with the university league, and so that those kind of channels now exist. So like I said, there's Free State University gave one of the girls a bursary to go and study there. So there are those opportunities. There's the channels to the US to play, etc. And Tembi is a fantastic example of a player who she was playing at Atletico Madrid and now she's playing in the US, I think. But those opportunities also exist. So Desiree is another example. Des was our captain many years ago while she was working full-time in a butchery, and now she's the coach of the national team. And I think those kind of opportunities, when girls see it, and I think last year sometime Fran Hilton-Smith came and did a talk for the players and the coaches, and she said to them, there's so many opportunities for girls now. We just need to grab them and make them happen. But we also have to support each other in doing it, and find the opportunities. So that's part of what Fanele and her team do within KZN High School's committee. Dan and Fanele are always looking for opportunities for players to progress, whether it be to universities and tertiary or getting into like the regional leagues, Hollywood Bets League, whatever the case is. And we all have to kind of keep an eye out for opportunities. So if there's a young player who has potential, because you just need a few people, Alex, in a community to start moving ahead. And then the other girls realize it's possible. Otherwise, it's a pipe dream, That's why, for example, Lorna Temba coming out of Pietermaritzburg, who played in the high schools tournaments, etc., played for Banyana for a couple of games. She just missed out on the World Cup squad, but it's tangible because you know her, and that's what we're trying to also just try and find those opportunities for the girls.
For the girls who do decide to join football, to start playing. What are the benefits if you were to sell it to someone who is considering joining football, a girl somewhere in the country who might not have played it before? or might have obviously played it, but not at school, not in a proper team, just in a social setting. What do you say?
I'll leave that to the life orientation teacher to answer.
I always tell my girls, I have a strong belief in club sport. And unfortunately, club soccer is not like a big norm in amongst KZN. So I always say, join a club. Whether it's a club that has a majority of boys playing soccer, join a club so you can develop your skills. So when you actually get the opportunity to play for KZN or whatever team, like Starling and so forth, then you actually are a lot sharper than other people that are just joining now, you know? And I also think the more you sharpen your skills, the more you better yourself, the more you actually will grab those opportunities a lot more than just sitting back and waiting for an opportunity to come. And if it doesn't come, or if it does come and you're not ready, then you can't actually take it on. So that's my one biggest thing. I mean, I've got a number of kids here at school that always are asking me about what clubs are available, what clubs can I join, and so forth. Because at the end, there's that end result that they have fixated in their minds to think that if I just do 1, 2, and 3, I can get there. So I always say the more you sharpen yourself and the more you sharpen your skills, the further you can go. Yeah.
And also, you know, Alex, if you think about that, the kind of common skills analogy where to sharpen a skill, you need 10,000 hours.
Yes.
You know, whether it's typing or whatever. If you play football for 1 hour a day, that's only 365 hours for a year. It's not enough. You know, so Fanele is right. You know, I would encourage the young girls out there to get involved in playing football, whether it's at school, whether it's during your PE lesson, whether it's like Fanele is saying, join a club and play with the boys. We have a lot of girls that play with the boys until they are in grade 7, and then they come into the Starlings program because then it's more focused. But the reality is you never know, you might love the sport until you give it a bash. And no one says you have to play for Banyana, but it will teach you great confidence. It's great for social skills because it's a team sport. You know, the learnings out of it from a social perspective, a sense of belonging. Everybody wants to belong to a team. Everybody wants to belong to, you know, a group. That's the only way you're going to improve those skills. It's definitely not going to be from, like Fanele said, waiting for third term and playing for 3 or 4 weeks. It's not enough if you want to take it seriously.
Just to end off from each of you, I'd like to get your ideal, what you'd like to see happen in the next few years to take girls football to the next level, and your dream, basically.
For girls football, for me, I'd like it to have the same type of platforms as men, especially in the country as a whole, because boys soccer is put on a pedestal. But when it comes to women's soccer, we have to do well first before we get on to that pedestal. If it would be equal, I think it would be great. So the young girl that actually dreams of becoming that soccer player, it's not something that they can think that it's not going to happen, but it's something that they can see that it's visible and that has a lot of support and so forth. But maybe there's a young girl in, I don't know, Sisluwe, for example, that actually has a dream in becoming a soccer player, but I can't get hold of them. What does she do? Doesn't make sense. So I'd really love it if the whole country, specific departments, brands that are sponsoring Banyana Banyana now that they're doing so great, jump on the bandwagon and actually look at it in a point of view that, you know what, it's possible. You know, because I really think it would be amazing if any girl, wherever they come from, they can have this dream and it will be valid because they have a good support structure coming from whether it's departments of education and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's exactly what Fanele said. It needs to be an equalized platform. It just needs to be a platform where it's the norm and not the exception. So a girl playing football is not the exception, but she's rather the norm. And it's kind of like how netball is an accepted norm, or hockey is an accepted norm for girls at the moment. It should be the same with football. It's an accepted norm, and the facilities are there, the coaching, skills are there, the platforms are there, and that's the main thing. It's just being able to have the norm, make it the same kind of attraction and the same kind of access that boys have we want the girls to have in terms of, tournaments, leagues, selections, opportunities. It's the same thing. And for that, you need buy-in. As you said, Alex, you need buy-in from the schools as well. The schools need to buy into it so that they letting the girls who want to play football the whole year or from second term, play from second term, and not forcing them into a sport that they're playing because they have to play something. Yeah.
100%. Well, Uraisha, Fanele, thank you so much. And thanks for being so open and sharing about this incredible journey that you've both been on and the incredible stories that you have. I think it's going in the right direction, and that's in a large part thanks to you, and thanks for talking about that and hopefully inspiring girls around the country to start playing and to find out more about girls football in their areas, and also to other people who can support, to give that support where it is needed most. Because the ideal that you have painted, I don't think is one that is too hard to accomplish if, like you've had, people come together and support a good cause. Thank you so much, and thanks for being on the Supersport Schools podcast.
This has been the Supersport Schools podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur State Ranchers.